Hello everyone, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back, and today we are talking about Major Hurricane Eta, ETA, however you guys want to say it. And this thing has blown up into a Cat 4 beast, and we're going to talk about it in today's video. So to find out more, stay tuned for the whole video and enjoy. If you like staying up to date with the latest weather forecasts and updates, then please consider hitting the subscribe button below. Let's see how fast we can get to 2,000 subscribers. Also, to help this video's performance very much, please consider clicking the like button and sharing this video with your friends. Also, please consider watching the whole video. Thank you. Now let's get on with today's video. So yes, as you can see, this now has sustained winds of 130 miles an hour. Let me actually make the pen a little bit. There we go. 130 mile per hour winds now. This thing is about to come on shore, a weak Cat 4 strength, but there's nothing weak about this system. Making landfall as a major hurricane, we still have those hurricane warnings out for, again, like I said in the last video, the northeastern coast of Nicaragua. We have hurricane watches as well as tropical storm warnings. For eastern Honduras and for the north coast of Honduras, we have tropical storm watches. So it's basically going to be moving in a west-southwest motion and turning and coming back into the Caribbean. But do you notice something? It forms into a Cat 4 hurricane like you see now, then weakens into a post-tropical depression. But when it comes over the Caribbean, it strengthens back into a regular tropical depression. So that could mean possible re-strengthening. But we're going to talk about the effects it's having right now on Nicaragua. Tropical storm force winds are just starting to arrive now. It's moving west-southwest again at 9 miles per hour. All right, so arrival time of tropical storm force winds, most likely now in the next couple of hours will be arriving. If you're a bit further inland, like in the central part of Nicaragua and Honduras, most likely those winds will be arriving tomorrow morning. So you still got a little bit of time, but that's bad because this is going to dump tons of rainfall. And look how close these lines get together. 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Then we got Tuesday 8 p.m. Then Wednesday 8 a.m. These lines get so close together. So this storm is definitely going to be slowing down. Also, this actually did undergo rapid intensification. I never really ruled it out. I just said that it wasn't likely. But yes, rapid intensification did happen. And this almost kind of looks like a mustard bottle or like a popsicle if you look at it from an angle. All right, but you notice the wind history. The wind field was pretty small, and then it just kind of blew up. It kind of erupted into a more bigger wind field once it went under that rapid intensification. All right, so again, 130 mile per hour winds with winds gusting to 160 miles an hour. That is just outrageous. And look at this. As it comes on shore, it could be growing to 150 miles per hour with winds of 185 miles an hour. This will be definitely closing in on Cat 5 status, if not pretty much hitting us. So this is going to be this is supposed to be a Cat 1 at landfall, remember. All right, and the reason I wasn't predicting rapid intensification is because the shear was a bit high in this area, but apparently it is found. And like I said, what happened with Zeta, the shear just went down. So here's this tropical depression, 30 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour. When it comes over the Caribbean, it goes back up to 35 again. So there's your re-strengthening. But this is going to be I hate to say this, but gotta say the truth. It is going to be a disaster for places like Nicaragua, for places like Honduras, and we're talking about 10, 15, 20 feet of surge. I mean, that's honestly outrageous. It goes to Nicaragua, then through central Honduras, all right, and then curves back out over the Caribbean Sea. So here are some key messages for Hurricane Eta. All right, basically, I just call it Hurricane Zeta, but without the Z. But anyway, catastrophic wind damage. We're talking about winds gusting, guys, past 185 miles per hour, according to the National Hurricane Center. That is just outrageous. All right, tropical storm force winds could be arriving now in the next few hours, but trust me, he'll be a lot more than that soon after. Catastrophic surge. Talk about surge up past 18 feet, possibly. And heavy rainfall. This thing will not be moving very fast. It's not going to completely stall, but it will come pretty close to that. All right, and that's definitely not going to be good. We're going to talk about the rainfall totals in this video as well. Especially if you know anybody, or if you're one of those people yourself that's in line for this, definitely stick around for the whole video to find out more. Because we got Hurricane Eta here. Again, 130 mile an hour winds, just became a Cat 4. Pressure is all the way down to 948, which is that's also insane. not a record by any means, but it's still very, very low pressure. And look at this beast. I mean, yeah, you could just see the eye developing, and you could just see how it's actually, in the latest satellite frame, it's actually been sinking southward a lot, which could be a bit of a relief for a place like Honduras if it goes further south, but still, nonetheless, I think you guys will definitely be affected by the storm system. And there's an outrageous eye wall, that sick-looking eye wall that's developing around the storm system. And you can see the hurricane and the hurricane developing in here, but then you have all this convection that's just surrounding the storm system, right? And that's what really makes this storm is really growing in size. And look at the Caribbean again. Sea surface temperatures not terribly above average, but they're definitely slightly above average, and that is still going to that's one of the reasons why this storm has grown so much. Look at these actual sea surface temperatures here. 29, 30 degrees Celsius. I mean, like I said, it's not a record, but it's definitely enough. It's still definitely enough to support development, and that's what we have been seeing. All right, so let's go to the current storm location. Let me just refresh just in case we might have missed something, but I did just set this up. All right, so there we go. This is as of 2 p.m., and you can see the low is located right on 82 degrees west and about 15 or so degrees north. And here's a track, and now you've seen throughout my videos I've covered this. You can see more and more models now are definitely taking this thing out in the Northern Caribbean again, and that could result in catastrophic growth. And again, storm surge passing 20 feet. Nicaragua may not look the same after the storm system, and neither will Honduras even. All right, and then here's all the Gfs model tracks. Then they have it intensifying into a hurricane again and striking Cuba, then maybe even Florida, then after that. Or the Bahamas, I should say. Cuba, Bahamas, then Florida is what some of the models are saying. GEPS model tracks don't go quite out as far yet, but a few do definitely hint at something going back into the Northern Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico. And here is the intensity guidance. Again, could go up more. Most of the models are saying could go up, strengthen into a mid or high Cat 4, and then it will weaken pretty quickly because of the topography of Nicaragua and Honduras. I mean, it could be like 24 hours out, it could be a Cat 4, and then 24 hours after that, it may be a tropical storm. So it will weaken pretty quickly because once it makes landfall, it will be slowing down. So if they were to be accelerating once it makes landfall, it would weaken a bit slower. And some models say it will be a Cat 2 or Cat 3 for the next week, and I don't think that's going to be the case. All right, but some models do hint at slower strengthening, but most hint at a some models hint at a faster weakening, some a slower weakening. And you can see the shear is actually lower than expected again, so that's why it really never got above 25 knots as originally forecasted, more so 15 knots. And really through the next week, we won't see shear get higher than 15 knots. All right, so sea surface temperature is 29, above 29 Celsius, and you can just see the heat content once it reemerges over the Caribbean, it goes back up into the 80s and the 90s, even though right now it's not too bad, like 30s and 40s. All right, and the storm speed, again, moving 6 to 8 miles an hour right now, but could be slowing down to a couple or a few miles per hour through the next week. All right, now let's take a look at some of those models because I know you're dying to know the models. So here's the GFS model again, making landfall right there on Nicaragua and Honduras, or making landfall in Nicaragua and then heading through Honduras, and then it kind of gathers itself together and then moves its way on through the Northern Caribbean. All right. Now, let's take a look at, we're going to come right back to this, but take a look at the rainfall totals. We're talking about rainfall totals passing 15 inches, passing 10 inches. All right, so that is definitely a lot of rainfall. And even once it tracks over Northern Caribbean, we could still be seeing, definitely a lot of rain for a place like Cuba, maybe even Haiti, Dominican Republic, depending on where it goes. And then the GFS model kind of has it sitting around, the 12Z run had something a lot different than this, but still a tropical storm nonetheless. They actually had a major hurricane in the last model run, but still definitely a well-developed tropical storm moving up through western Cuba, and then eventually maybe towards the Gulf of Mexico as we head farther out in time. And here's the cyclonic vorticity signature, and you can just see, look how tightly packed those isolines are. Like, I can't describe that. They're really, really tightly packed. Like, it's almost like they're forming like a solid color shape. Like, that's how tightly packed they are. All right, and all that energy is built within the system, and it's going to have to spread itself out. The energy will start spreading out a bit as it heads on land. Energy starts to fall apart a little bit, but nonetheless, I mean, that's what happens with a tropical system. It happens with every tropical system when it hits land, right? Obviously, not every tropical system hits land, all right? But then moves to the north, as you can see, through, might even head into southern Mexico, all right? And then its energy moves into Cuba, moves into Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. And we're sticking with the GFS model here still, but we'll be heading to the GEM and the European next. Now, actually, let me zoom in. This will be better if I just zoom in on the storm system. I can't do it with the other two models, but I can with this one, with the GFS. All right, so let's pull this up here. And for some reason, it did not let me. So here's the GFS model. Very, very strong storm. All right, and then it appears to have disappeared. That's how it appears, right? But it appears to have disappeared. That didn't sound right. All right, that didn't make sense. But anyway, it moves to the Northern Caribbean, still with some tropical storm force winds with it. I know it does not look like much. And then it rotates back into the Gulf of Mexico. Again, still possibly a tropical storm as it heads towards Cuba and Florida. But like I said, things to expect in Nicaragua and Honduras. Definitely winds passing 180 miles an hour. I think surge could, with this kind of wind, with wind gusts passing 180 miles an hour at times maybe, I definitely think the surge is going to be well above 18, 20 feet. Definitely rainfall. I expect 10 to 20 inches of that in some spots, especially with the topography in that region is not going to help either by any means. So you got the wind, you got the surge, you have the rainfall as well. So, I mean, we got everything with this system. All right. All right, so here's the GEM model. Again, now for some reason, this is not really accurate because they have the pressure, and this was actually like a more recent model run, and they have the pressure at 980 still, which is very inaccurate, right? Like, that's way off. But I think it's because the GEM model only does 0 and 12Z model runs. Like, the GFS does 6, 12, 18, and 0. So, not like the GEM and the European. So, I think that's why they're a bit behind. But still, the 12Z model run, still very similar to GFS's 18Z model run, bringing it into the Gulf of Mexico. And after it hits Nicaragua and Honduras, comes back into the Caribbean. And the rainfall, whew, all right, again, 10 to 20 inches of rainfall for wherever the storm may track over, through Central America, through Mexico, and then up through Cuba and the Bahamas. Bahamas could get devastated too with over 20 inches of rainfall, according to the GEM model. So here is the cyclonic vorticity signature. All right, here we go. All right, and as you can see, there's the energy. Like I said, when the system weakens like this, the energy starts spreading out a bit more, even though it weakens. And then it moves onto the north, and actually moves pretty far north than expected. So expect some impacts to the Yucatan Peninsula again. Hit by several hurricanes this year as well. I mean, Zeta, Delta. I mean, I can't keep track of all of them. All right, and then it moves into the Caribbean, and it kind of stalls near Florida and Bahamas, and it kind of like eats itself, all right, onto the north and west, and then back into the Gulf of Mexico. All right, so GEM model, let's look at the wind graphic. And again, why they still have it as a tropical storm remains to be seen. All right, but still, after it hits Nicaragua, after it hits Honduras, it will be starting to move through the Caribbean, as you can see here. Definitely still packing some tropical storm force winds along with it. Again, there you can see it. It may even redevelop into a hurricane. Models aren't quite sure about that yet, though. But what I am sure about is I wanted to kind of focus on Nicaragua and Honduras for today's video because that's where it's hitting right now and it's going to be devastating. So definitely want to talk about that. So again, expect a lot of rainfall, 10, 20 inches, and expect 20 feet of surge possibly. Expect winds passing 100, well, definitely sustained winds of 150 miles an hour, which is only like 7 away from a Cat 5. And definitely expect a lot of wind and rain and surge. That is definitely going to be a very big issue. Before I go to the European model, though, I do actually want to pull up windy.com here. And this data will be a bit incorrect because, again, the European, for some reason, I think this is what happened, is that models like the GFS, right? Like I told you, they have 18Z model runs that come out. The European and the GEM only have the 0 and the 12Z model runs. So I think what happened is that this storm strengthened so fast that the European model still has it as a tropical storm and 50 mile per hour winds. And wind gusts as only 80 miles, 90 miles an hour. Trust me, guys, it is way more than that. All right. But I did want to take a look at the wave heights just to be curious. I may have to wait till tomorrow morning to see the real results because like the wind data is so inaccurate. But the wave heights do seem to be still a bit strong. I mean, near 20 feet. But I think we're going to have to wait till tomorrow because I was just curious because the European doesn't quite come out of. Well, maybe the Wave Watch 3 might have something better. I don't think so either. But Definitely a lot of waves to the north. I definitely see some 15-foot waves to the north. But trust me, guys, waves will be getting above 30 feet most likely. All right, but I just wanted to see if some of the models have picked up on that yet. But for the wind, we can look at the Gfs model on here. And let's see if the Gfs model shows. Yeah, so Gfs is definitely a lot more accurate. Like I see, yeah, it's still a bit behind, but I still see, you know, winds of 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, and then winds gusting to 90 as well. But we may have to wait, all right, until tomorrow morning. And then here's a European model, though, still very accurate looking at landfall. Is a huge beast coming on shore. Again, weakens a little bit, and then guess where it's heading? Yep, back in the Northern Caribbean where it's going to thrive again. Hopefully, this will be... And look at this beast they have it becoming. This is a beast moving through Cuba, and that could be like another Cat 3, Cat 4 yet again, potentially. And what about those winds? Yeah, 933 millibars of pressure. Winds probably getting close to Cat 4 status again. That's what the European is saying. We're definitely going to have to watch out for this. So thank you for watching this special coverage video. I'm the Weather Dude, signing off till next time. I will catch you guys in the next video. Stay safe and stay awesome.